You know, in the NFL, a team's entire future, we're talking a decade of success or failure, it can all pivot on one single choice. Just one decision that changes everything. And today, we're looking at exactly that kind of moment for the Las Vegas Raiders. A convergence, a perfect storm that could completely reshape the AFC for years to come. Welcome to NFL Nexus, where we dive deep into the game's biggest turning points. Hey, if this is the kind of football breakdown you love, do us a favor and hit that subscribe button so you don't miss our next one. We also really want to know what you think about the Raiders' future, so drop a comment down below. All right, let's get into it.
Okay, so it all starts with this one simple, incredibly powerful fact. The Las Vegas Raiders are on the clock. Now look, holding the #1 pick in the NFL draft is the ultimate double-edged sword, right? On one hand, it's this amazing beacon of hope after a really tough season. But on the other, my gosh, the pressure is just immense. The future of the entire franchise is on your shoulders. I mean, think about it. History is full of these moments. You get it right, like the Colts with Peyton Manning back in '98, and you set yourself up for a decade, more than a decade of dominance. You get it wrong, like these very same Raiders with Jamarcus Russell in '07, and it can create a black hole that takes years to climb out of. The weight of that single name on that single card is it's monumental.
And right there, that's where this story goes from interesting to absolutely fascinating. See, we're not just here to talk about another team with a high draft pick. No. What's happening in Vegas is different. They aren't just thinking about who to pick. They've been methodically, piece by piece, building the perfect situation. They're creating an entire ecosystem, the right coaches, the right mentors, the perfect offensive scheme, all designed to make sure their guy doesn't just survive the rookie year, but actually thrives from the moment he walks in the door. It's a multi-layered strategy, and it kind of feels like they're playing chess when a lot of other teams are still playing checkers.
So here's our game plan for breaking this all down. First up, we're going to talk about the insane stakes that come with that #1 pick. Then we'll introduce you to the man in the middle of it all, quarterback prospect Fernando Mendoza. After that, we'll look at the offensive mastermind they brought in to build the system from the ground up. Then we have to talk about the X factor, the game changer, the Tom Brady connection. And finally, we'll put all those pieces together to show you why this is truly a franchise-altering decision.
All right, let's jump into part 1, the #1 overall pick. This isn't just about getting first dibs. It's about what it means to have the highest stakes in the entire league sitting right on your shoulders. So the key word to focus on here is consensus. This isn't one of those messy draft years where experts are all arguing over a pass rusher versus a cornerback versus 3 different QBs with different styles. No. The board has fallen in such a way that it is screaming quarterback, and really it's screaming one guy's name. And here's the crazy part. That clarity, it actually makes the pressure even worse. There's no excuse. There's no hiding behind, oh, it was a tough call. The choice is basically laid out for them. The entire NFL world is watching, not to see if they'll make the obvious choice, but to judge them if they somehow, some way, get it wrong.
Which of course brings us to part 2, and the man himself. Let's meet Fernando Mendoza, the guy who is standing directly in the eye of this hurricane of expectation.
You know, the first thing that really jumps out about Fernando Mendoza has nothing to do with his arm talent or his 40-yard dash time. It's his mindset. Just read this quote. "Blessed and honored, give them my all." I mean, we're in an era where top prospects are basically brands before they even take a snap in the league, and this is it's so grounded. He's not talking about building his legacy or his brand. He's talking about work. And trust me, that's not just some PR line. For a GM, for a head coach, that language is music to their ears. It tells them this kid is coachable, he's a team-first guy, and he gets that being the #1 pick isn't the finish line, it's the starting pistol.
And that character, it was on full display when he met with the team. When you hear sources say it was a fantastic interview, that's code for this kid has it. They didn't just lob him softball questions. They put his college film on, made him break down his own plays, the good and the bad. They're testing his football IQ, his recall, his honesty. But the real test, the one that separates the guys who can play from the guys who can lead, is the whiteboard. When they ask a QB to draw up plays, they're testing his ability to process information and then teach it. Can you clearly explain a complex protection scheme to your offensive line with the play clock ticking down? The fact that he reportedly aced this, that is a massive green flag. It shows the mental hardware is every bit as impressive as the physical talent.
Okay, so the Raiders have the pick. They think they found their guy. But the smartest organizations in the league know that drafting the player, that's only half the job. And that brings us to part 3, an architect for the offense, because you have to build the house before you hand over the keys.
And the architect they hired to build this house is Nick Holes. Now, this wasn't just some random hire off of a list of candidates. This was a strategic homecoming. Holes already has deep, deep roots with the Raiders. And why is that so critical? Think about it. Most teams picking number 1 overall are in chaos. They just had a terrible year. Coaches might be getting fired. It's unstable. By bringing back someone who already knows the people, knows the building, knows the culture, the Raiders are building a pocket of stability. They are consciously trying to remove as many unknowns as possible to create a calm, steady environment for a rookie quarterback to walk into.
And his resume, it is perfectly tailored for this exact job. 10 seasons with the Raiders gives him that institutional knowledge we just talked about. But here's the important part. He didn't just stay there. He went out, he got experience calling plays as an OC at both the pro and the college level. And just look at the coaching tree he comes from. He's worked with offensive minds like John Gruden, Bill Musgrave. That means he's seen it all. He knows the quick timing, West Coast offense, and he knows the more aggressive downfield passing attacks. He isn't a one-trick pony. He's an architect who can pull from a whole library of blueprints to build a system that perfectly fits the strengths of his new quarterback.
But a resume is just words on paper, right? It's the results that really matter. And this is where the hire gets truly exciting. Look at his track record. With Holes' help, Hunter Renfrow turns into a Pro Bowl machine. He was there when first-round pick Amari Cooper came in and started setting franchise rookie records. And that third bullet point right there, that's the kicker. As the offensive coordinator for the Titans, he just finished mentoring Cam Ward, the #1 pick from the year before. He has direct, fresh, recent experience guiding a top prospect through their rookie year. He makes everyone around him better. And speaking of creating cool things, you can help support our channel by checking out our coloring books. They're perfect for kids, grandkids, even adults. You can find them using the link in the description or by scanning the QR code on your screen. Your support really does help us keep building explainers just like this one.
Okay, now it's time to talk about the final and, let's be honest, maybe the most legendary piece of this whole puzzle for the Raiders. This is the element that elevates this whole thing from just a good plan to something that could be truly historic. Let's talk about part 4, the Tom Brady factor.
So all these strategic moves, bringing in the perfect coach, it doesn't stop there. As impressive as Nick Foles' resume is, there's another level of influence entirely at play here. A presence in the building that just changes the entire gravity of the situation. We're talking about a voice that has an unmatched legacy. A guy who basically wrote the book on how to be a successful quarterback in the modern NFL.
And there he is. Now, the most important words on this slide are minority owner. This is not some ceremonial position. Tom Brady isn't just a celebrity fan who gets a good parking spot. He's not a consultant they bring in for a weekend. As an owner, he has a real financial, long-term, vested interest in this team's success. That means his voice, his opinion, his philosophy, it carries serious weight in that building. He is now a foundational piece of who the Las Vegas Raiders are. The undisputed greatest winner in the history of the sport has a literal seat at the table.
And this is where it all just clicks into place so perfectly. You have the potential #1 pick, Fernando Mendoza, already talking about what that mentorship would mean. And just listen to the way he says it, greatest of all time by a wide margin. That isn't just professional courtesy, that's genuine reverence. You can hear it. For him, the chance to learn from his hero would mean so much. You simply cannot script that kind of dynamic. It sets up the perfect mentor-student relationship right from day one, where the student isn't just willing to listen, he is dying to soak up every single lesson the master has to teach.
And this just seals the deal, doesn't it? We come right back to Mendoza's core trait. He is all about learning. This is not a prospect coming in thinking he knows everything. He is a sponge, ready to absorb it all. And who better to learn from than the man who spent more than 2 decades perfecting the position? And we're not just talking about how to throw a football. We're talking about all the stuff that nobody sees. How to break down film for 8 hours straight. How to read a disguised defense at the line of scrimmage. How to manage the clock with 90 seconds left. And maybe most importantly, how to be the leader of an entire locker room. The potential for that kind of knowledge transfer, it is just off the charts. All right, that brings us to our final section, a franchise-altering decision. It's time to pull the camera back and look at the whole picture to see how all these powerful pieces are converging at the exact same time. This right here, this is the perfect storm. Let's just walk through it one last time. Number 1, you have the ultimate asset in football, the #1 overall pick. 2, you have a prospect in Fernando Mendoza who not only has elite talent, but has the perfect, humble, hungry mindset. 3, you have an experienced offensive architect in Nick Holtz, hired specifically to build the nest. And 4, you have the ultimate mentor, the GOAT himself, Tom Brady, literally embedded in the ownership structure of the team. I mean, look, any team in the league would feel lucky to have 1 or 2 of these things going for them. The Raiders have all 4, all at once. It creates a support system for a rookie quarterback that is unlike anything we have ever seen before. And really, that's the main takeaway from all of this. The most impressive part of this story isn't just that they're going to draft a great player. It's the careful, deliberate, methodical work the Raiders have already done before the pick is even in to stack the deck in that player's favor. They've built the coaching staff, they have the architect for the system, they have a living legend waiting to be a mentor. They haven't just bought a lottery ticket and hoped it hits. They have built the perfect incubator to grow a superstar.
Which leaves us all with one final, massive question. When you put all of these pieces together so perfectly, the pick, the player, the architect, and the legend, is this the recipe for the NFL's next dynasty? Look, only time is going to tell for sure, but the blueprint itself is a masterclass in how to build a franchise. So what do you think? Is this a can't-miss situation, or is the pressure maybe just too much for any rookie to handle? Let us know what you think in the comments. Thanks so much for joining us here on NFL Nexus. If you enjoyed this breakdown, make sure you're subscribed for more deep dives into the stories that are shaping the entire league. We'll see you next time.